Have you ever seen someone treated like they were nothing, only to watch the entire world discover they were everything? On a flight, passengers barely noticed her. She was just another face sitting in row 10 until she was forced out of her seat in humiliation. Hours later, the sky itself revealed the truth. Because when an F-35 pilot's voice broke through the radios and spoke her code name, every single person on board realized they had been sitting beside a legend. And before we dive into this unforgettable story of respect, recognition, and redemption, make sure you hit subscribe, because the stories we share will leave you breathless, inspired. And remembering that not all heroes wear uniforms in public. The flight from Dallas to Seattle was packed. That evening, every row filled, every overhead been crammed with bags. Among the passengers was a woman in her late 30s. She had short, cropped hair, a weathered leather jacket, and eyes that seemed to study everything without ever drawing attention. She didn't board early, didn't ask for special assistance. She slid quietly into row 10, her backpack tucked under the seat. But to the couple arriving late, she was in their way. They insisted the seat belonged to them. A flight attendant hurried over, scanning boarding passes, frowning. Somewhere in the shuffle, an error had been made. The woman in row 10 had a boarding pass, but so did they. And in that moment, the crowd didn't side with her. They sided with the louder voices. "Ma'am, I'll have to ask you to move," the attendant said politely but firmly. Murmurs rippled through the row. Some passengers rolled their eyes, as if she were the inconvenience. The woman didn't argue. She didn't shout. She simply nodded, stood, and carried her bag to the back of the plane, to a cramped middle seat that no one else wanted to owe them. She was now invisible. To them, she was the woman thrown out of row 10. That what they didn't know, what they couldn't possibly guess, was that she had once commanded skies so vast and dangerous that the very pilots who now patrolled American airspace had trained on stories of her missions. To them, she wasn't a stranger. She was code-named Justice itself. The flight climbed steadily into the night sky. Passengers settled, headphones plugged in, snacks unwrapped. In the back row, she rested her head against the window, eyes closed, not sleeping, but remembering. Every engine roar pulled her back into memory. Nights over deserts, days above oceans, the constant hum of machines she had once called home. But fate had a way of exposing truths at the strangest times. 2 hours into the flight, the captain's voice broke through. "Ladies and gentlemen, we've been informed of nearby military training exercises. We may see aircraft in close proximity. No cause for concern." The words seemed routine, but minutes later, shadows appeared outside the cabin windows. Sleek, angled, like predators gliding through clouds. F-35 Lightning IIs. Stealth fighters, newer than anything she had flown, deadlier than anything she had faced. Passengers gasped. Phones lifted to record. Children squealed in excitement. But inside the cockpit, the radios carried a message that none of the passengers expected to hear. "Flight 227, do you copy? We've identified your manifest. Request confirmation. Is Valkyrie on board?" The captain froze. The first officer blinked. "Say again." The radio crackled louder. "Repeat. We have positive ID. Codename, Valkyrie. Confirm she's aboard." The captain, bewildered, turned to the flight attendants. "We need to check something." Row 10. "Passenger manifest. Name, classified." The attendant scrambled, scanning tablets, rushing through the aisles. Finally, one stopped near the back, staring at the quiet woman in the middle seat. "Ma'am, they're asking for you." The passengers around her turned, confused. Some snickered. "Her? Why would the military want her?" The woman sighed, stood slowly, and walked forward. Each step echoed like a drumbeat, the whispers of the cabin growing louder. By the time she reached the cockpit, every passenger knew something extraordinary was unfolding. Inside, she took the headset from the stunned captain, her voice steady low. "This is Valkyrie. Who's calling?" The F-35 pilot's reply came instantly, filled with respect. "Ma'am, this is Ghost Rider Squadron. We grew up hearing your missions and training. It's an honor to fly escort tonight." The cabin gasped as the captain accidentally left the intercom live. every word broadcast into the passenger area. Phones dropped. Mouths hung open. The woman from row 10, quiet, dismissed, humiliated, was now being saluted across the sky by America's most advanced war machines. Her story wasn't one passengers would find on Google. She was erased from records, her missions buried under black ink and classified files. But among pilots, she was more than a legend. She was the one who had flown missions no one survived. The one who had rescued squadrons under impossible fire. The one who had gone missing for 3 days and returned with a damaged jet that should never have flown again. Her code name, Valkyrie, the chooser of the slain, the warrior who never lost those under her watch. The passengers whispered her name like it was sacred. The couple in row 10 who had demanded she leave their seats looked pale, ashamed. The businessman who had rolled his eyes when she moved blushed, sinking into silence. Children stared wide-eyed, realizing the hero they read about in textbooks had been sitting just feet away. Outside, the F-35's tilted wings in salute, their lights blinking like stars bowing to the earth. And she said nothing. She simply returned the headset, sat back in her seat, and closed her eyes again, unmoved, unshaken. For her, the sky didn't reveal glory. It revealed ghosts. When the plane touched down in Seattle, something remarkable happened. Normally, passengers rushed to stand, grabbing bags, pushing toward the exit. But not this time. This time, they waited, in silence, until she stood, until she walked down the aisle, and then applause. Quiet at first, then rising. Not the shallow applause of a safe landing, but the thunderous gratitude of people who had glimpsed the weight of sacrifice and survival. She didn't stop to bask in it. She walked through the jet bridge, her jacket pulled close. Outside, on the tarmac, the 2 F-35s roared overhead, dipping low one final time in tribute before vanishing into the clouds. The woman once humiliated in row 10 walked out not as a passenger, but as Valkyrie, the legend even the skies could not forget. And that's the story of how a forgotten hero, treated like she was nothing, reminded the world, and everyone on that plane, that real courage never fades. She was just another passenger, until the F-35 spoke her code name. That if this story gave you chills, if it reminded you that legends walk quietly among us every day, then make sure you subscribe right now. Because we bring you stories that honor the hidden heroes, the untold truths, and the unforgettable moments you'll never forget.